First of all, I want to know, why do you think people did that?
Yes, so there's a few reasons, but mostly it was because of the election fraud narrative that was being said by Trump, and um, there's a lot of build up to it over the last 4 years, but it all accumulated in this one moment.
Mm. And do you personally believe that this election was fraudulent?
No, I don't,
I see.
but I do understand some of the points, but definitely it was not overall fraudulent.
Mm. But let's just for a moment assume that you do believe that this election was fraudulent. Do you think that this reason can be used to justify the action the people did at the Capitol?
Yeah, if it was fraudulent, then there is some justification to acts like these, but not for one, it wasn't so. But it has to. You have to have a clear and uh, like you have to have a good understanding of what you're doing going into it, and this did not have an intellectual basis and evidence that made this action justified.
Mm-mm. So you're saying that if there is evidence to suggest that the election was fraudulent, you think that people should be justified when they storm the Capitol, even in a rather violent and a militant fashion?
Yeah, it's hard to because some things do require violent actions. I think that if you're under a system that is treating you unjustly, then yeah, I mean, I think there is cause and justification for that, but that's like the last step, and um, there's other mechanisms to start with that aren't violent. Um, and this whole thing happened under false pretenses
Mm.
that and all the steps in between going from non justified to justified weren't there. So it's not justified in the end, even if there was the reasons were um, real. There's other mechanisms that you have to go through first. Like you gotta really interrogate the reasons why, break it down, and then if there's still no progress being made, then there there is some cause to take violent action. But like we just weren't there at all on this.
Mm. So you see this as the last resort.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Like
I see. But like, what about the people around you? Like, what are their opinion on this incident?
yeah, everyone sees it as completely terrible and like a disaster to the country um, on every level. So and nobody agrees with with it, and it's viewed as like a tragedy for the
Mm,
most part.
mm. And I know that your parents, they were a Trump supporter before this incident. Did their
Yeah,
attitude, their stance changed after this?
yeah. Their attitude completely changed after this event. So like that's one positive that came from this was that it gave people that were kind of uh, like not thinking very deeply into their support of Trump a event that required them to reevaluate what they were supporting. Um, and yeah, they realized that the consequences of some of the things that Trump was saying were really bad because of this. Um, and people that were kind of taking it lightly, talking about the fraudulent election stuff, and not they didn't believe it, but they thought it was maybe fun to say. They're like, oh, maybe this isn't fun to say anymore.
I see. I see. So people right now, either they start to reexamine their support to Trump, whether is worthy, Trump is worthy their trust, or they start to reexamine their behavior before whether it's um, good or not.
Yeah, yeah. It was just like it was kind of all fun and games until somebody gets hurt.
Mm,
Is kind of what this
right,
was. Yeah.
right. But Trump himself also faced some punishment afterward, right? He is now being banned from using Twitter. So, what do
Mm-hmm.
you think about this arrangement?
Yeah, that one's hard because I I am also an advocate for like freedom of speech, so I'm not sure my thoughts overall on what banning people from platforms like that are. But so I know Jack Dorsey, like the reason that he said he didn't ban Trump already was because he was a public figure. And now that this was also the end of his presidency. So even if this event didn't happen, there was potentially like he potentially would have just been banned anyway, because he had been saying things like this for 4 years that might have been worthy of a ban. But I'm not sure how I feel about banning people in general. So that's a different conversation. But yeah, I think if you do agree that people should be banned for inciting this kind of stuff, he was definitely worthy of
Mm.
that.